So my birthday is December 31st, New Year's Eve. And because of that, making New Year's resolutions has always held deep meaning for me. I think everyone loves the idea of a clean slate, but what's special about my birthday is it feels like from the very first day of a new year, I can work toward becoming a better version of myself. When I make my resolutions, I usually make a few, and a lot of them are probably resolutions you've made. Sometimes it's to spend less time on my phone. It might be to work out more often. I have a very long to-be-read list that I always try to chip away at. And because I'm an artist, I typically have a few resolutions that have to do with making art. In December of 2021, I got really into the idea of becoming a sketchbooker. A sketchbooker is an artist who has a sketchbook and they carry it around with them, and when they're feeling inspired, they make an entry. And this could be on their morning commute, it could be at lunch, and sometimes they even take it with them on vacation. I have gotten lost down YouTube rabbit holes taking sketchbook tours, which I recommend. It's just amazing to me that one person can fill an entire book with all of their different ideas and observations of the world and things that just interest them. So what I decided to do was I got a sketchbook, and for every week of the following year, I made an entry. I didn't limit myself to medium or subject matter. I found that sometimes events from the news is what was reflected in my sketchbook. Sometimes they were visual diary entries of how I was feeling. And I continued this for the entire year. When I finished, I realized that I had exactly 52 pages left in the book, which was kind of weird. I felt like the universe was telling me, obviously you have to do this again. So I did. And I didn't really change anything. I kept the rules the same. I entered once a week. I used paint and pencils and collage. I worked realistically. I worked abstractly. And by the end of the year, my sketchbook was completely filled. It was nice and fat. And I was going through it, and while I was happy to have completed my goal 2 years in a row, I realized that I hadn't really become a sketchbooker. I wasn't carrying it around with me. I wasn't filling it in when I felt inspired. Most of my entries were late on a Sunday evening because I had a busy week. And sometimes when I was feeling lazy, I would rely on collage or abstract art just to put something down. So I decided for the following year I had to do something different. And in researching different options, I found this book, One Painting a Day. And the first thing I thought was, I'm going to die. I can't do one painting a day. That's crazy. But I am a painter. So I bought the book. And what I liked about it was that every painting had a prompt or a word to get you going. And any artist will tell you, sometimes that's the hardest part. What are you going to make? What I really loved as a teacher is every 7 prompts belong to a theme. So I like that a lot. So what I decided was, okay, I'm not going to do one painting a day, but I'll do one painting a week for the entire year of 2024. So I went out and I bought 52 6x6-inch canvases, not super huge, and I started painting. And I documented my progress, there we go, on Instagram and on my website. And as I went, I took pictures so someone could see how an artist goes from a blank canvas to a final piece. And whenever I posted them, I included what the prompt was, why I chose the subject matter I did, and how I felt about it. And I continued with this throughout the whole year. There were some weeks where I could not wait to paint. I was so excited. And there were some weeks where I did not want to paint at all. Some paintings took 2 hours. Some paintings took 2 to 3 hours every day of that entire week. Some paintings were the best I had ever done in my life, and some of them I never want to see again. And I continued like this throughout the whole year. I did portraits, and I did landscapes, I did still lives. And in the last week of the year, the week I turned 39, I finished my final painting. And I was really proud of myself, but it felt really anticlimactic. It was just me in my studio. I finished. And I took a look around and I saw all of my other paintings sitting in there. And they were kind of small, but there's a lot of them. So they were taking up a lot of room, and I thought, well, what am I going to do now? Now I have all this work. So I decided that For 2025, I was going to have a solo show of all these pieces. It was pretty scary because the last time I had a solo show was 2016, and it was part of my master's program. We had a class where we learned how to put all your materials together, how to reach out to a gallery, so it had been a while. I was also scared because I thought, this was a personal project, but is it gallery worthy? Is anybody going to care about this other than me? But I had made my resolution, and so I put all my materials together and I started emailing local galleries. Many of them did not respond, but one of them did. The gallery owner said he really liked my story, he really liked my work, and he really needed somebody for the end of January. Was I interested in a show? And it was only a couple weeks to prepare, but I said yes. When you put on an art show, especially an opening, it's kind of like planning a birthday party for yourself. You send out your invites, you figure out the food, what you're going to wear, and the music, and then the night comes and you just really, really hope that anybody shows up. It's very nerve-wracking. And so I got to that point, and right before I sent out my invites, I asked the gallery owner, how many people are you expecting? And he said, a good show is 40 to 50 people. So I thought, okay. So I sent everything out. The night of the opening came, and it went really well. I had about 40 to 50 people come out, mostly friends and family. A few coworkers came. I even had some people off the street, which was very exciting. Some of my models were there, some former professors. It was a wonderful night. I felt very, very supported. And at the end of the night, one of my coworkers who came with her husband and her children and friends of hers, she brought so many people, I hugged her and I thanked her for coming. And she said something I don't think I'll ever forget. She said, "Are you kidding? Of course I had to come. I've been following you all year. I feel like I was a part of this." And it just made me feel so good because I almost didn't have this goal of the show because I was worried nobody else would care. So that meant a lot to me. When I think about this body of work, I think about the quote, "The whole is greater than the sum of its parts." The show works because it's 52 tiny pieces that work together. But more than that, it wasn't really about the paintings at all. When the gallery owner asked me for a title for the show, I decided to call it A Year in the Making. First, because it took a year to make. I thought that was pretty clever. But also, because I wanted to focus on the word making. Yes, I made 52 paintings, but I also made the time to make all those paintings. I made myself share my progress online with friends and family and strangers. And I made a commitment to myself to see this through. So if I can leave you with anything, I'm going to leave you with two things. The first is, you can make a resolution anytime you want. It doesn't have to be on my birthday. You can make one right now. Just set a goal and start working toward it. But also, when you make your next resolution, think about making something. You could make a work of art, or it could be making the time for something that you love. It could be making yourself share your progress with others. But whatever you do, make a commitment and see it through. Thank you.